Mary unexpectedly found herself caught in a whirlwind romance with her colleague, John. Married life had lost its spark, and John's charm and compliments were intoxicating. Her husband, David, seemed perpetually preoccupied with work, while their teenage son, Alex, lived in his own world. Mary felt a profound sense of loneliness creeping into her life. Then came a business trip to another city, an opportunity John seized upon, insisting on accompanying her. David, oblivious and seemingly indifferent, barely batted an eyelid. "Mary, honey, while you're away, I'll spend a couple of days with my parents. Mom needs help with some renovations." "Sure thing," Mary replied. "Take Alex along for the ride." "Nah, let him stay and hold down the fort, feed the cat. He's a big boy now. He'll manage." Alex, happy to have the house to himself, didn't object. Early next morning, Mary found herself at the bus station, where John was waiting for her, a wide grin plastered across his face. "Oh, Mary, I've missed you so much. Found a decent hotel, checked the reviews. Shame we couldn't snag a room together, but hey, at least we're close. We'll paint the town red, hit some fancy cafes, romantic walks in the moonlight, the whole shebang." John, a few years her junior and unattached, showered Mary with attention, fueling her sense of desirability and boosting her self-esteem. Compared to the mundane routine with David, this was exhilarating, a much-needed breath of fresh air. Who would believe she was pushing 40? They settled into the hotel and immediately got down to business, their days a whirlwind of meetings and negotiations. Evenings, however, were their playground. They strolled hand in hand, dined at quaint restaurants, their laughter echoing in the night air. Mary, free from the need to hide, felt a newfound youthfulness, her eyes sparkling with mischief. That night, Mary found herself drawn to John's room. She sent a quick text to David, "All good here. Exhausted. Gonna crash?" He replied, "Same here. Beat from all the work at my parents'. Renovations are no joke." The next morning, as Mary emerged from John's room, clad in her robe and slippers, she came face to face with David. He, too, was exiting a room, accompanied by a petite, curvy blonde who looked to be in her late 20s. Both froze, stunned into silence. "David, what are you doing here?" Mary finally sputtered, her voice laced with disbelief. David, caught off guard, stammered, while the young woman beside him shifted awkwardly. Just then, John emerged from the room, clad only in a pair of boxers. "Mary, sweetheart, what's all the commotion?" His eyes widened as they fell on David. "Mary? And who might this be?" "This is John, my colleague," Mary said, her voice a notch higher than usual. "And why is he calling you sweetheart? And why are you coming out of his room? What in the world is going on?" David's voice rose with each question. "That's exactly what I'm about to ask you. You're supposed to be helping your parents with renovations. And yet, here you are, in another city, with another woman. We'll talk about this later." John, sensing the tension, quickly retreated into his room, slamming the door shut behind him. "Olivia, wait downstairs. I'll be right down," David said, practically shoving the young woman towards the staircase. Olivia, with a nonchalant shrug, sauntered down the hallway. Mary, fuming, unlocked her own room, David hot on her heels. "Mary, did you spend the night with that gigolo?" he demanded, his voice laced with anger. "And did you spend the night with Olivia?" Mary retorted, her own anger boiling over. "It's a long story, but fine, yes, I did. And I don't regret it one bit. This is all your fault. You've completely neglected me. It's always work, work, work. Now I understand why you're always so eager to go on these business trips, with Mr. Macho waiting in the wings. Aren't you ashamed of yourself, cheating on your husband? And you're not ashamed? Cheating on your wife? This is all your fault, David. I can't even remember the last time you said a kind word to me, let alone showed any affection. I'm a woman, and I have needs. John finds me attractive and desirable, and it feels amazing." "Oh, really? So now it's a competition? Women shouldn't cheat. You're a wife, a mother. And what about the risk of bringing some disease home? I can't believe you're doing this at your age. And I'm the one to blame? Because you're itching for something on the side? Men are wired differently. We crave variety. So what now? What are we going to do?" "I don't know, David. We're even, I guess. We'll figure it out when we get home. And how convenient that you decided to visit your parents in this particular city. I never told you where I was going. You never asked. Business trip was all you needed to know. Olivia lives here. She often comes to our city for work, and I thought I'd pay her a visit. It's not that far, really. I'm shocked, Mary. Never thought you'd stoop so low. A wolf in sheep's clothing. I had no idea you were capable of this. Just pack your things. We're leaving. Just then, Mary's phone buzzed. A message from John. I'll take off on my own. Don't wait for me. I don't need this drama. Mary sighed. What a mess. She quickly packed her things and left the hotel with David. He spent the entire journey home lecturing her about betrayal and trust. Never thought I'd see the day you do something like this. Such deceit. Right back at you, David. We're both to blame here. And spare me the lecture. What now? Are we getting a divorce? Honestly, I'd rather not. We're a family. We have Alex to think about. You know what? Let's just forget this ever happened. What's done is done. I'll admit, I'm insanely jealous. Men are territorial creatures. I forgive you, for now, and I promise, I won't see anyone else ever again. We need to save our family, whatever it takes. There's always time for divorce. What do you say? Mary sat in silence, lost in thought. Is this what a marriage is supposed to look like? Two people living a lie? Hurting each other? David probably thought she was too old and boring to be desired by anyone else. And look at him now, all puffed up with jealousy and possessiveness. And the big question, did she still love him? No. Otherwise, she wouldn't have sought solace in John's arms. And David? Olivia wouldn't have entered the picture if he truly loved her. You know what, David? We don't love each other anymore. It happens. A double betrayal like this. It's the death knell of our marriage. What's the point of holding on? Alex will understand. We won't burden him with scandals and hysterics. We'll get a divorce amicably. We'll have to figure out the whole apartment situation, of course. We both need a place to live. David sighed. Well, this is just great. A divorce. I wasn't prepared for this. I thought I could have my fun on the side, experience something new, and that's it. Mary, don't rush into this. We can try to fix things, go back to how it was. Things will never be the same, David. David was surprised by Mary's willingness to agree to a divorce so readily. He always thought she cherished their family life, their comfortable routine. He certainly wasn't expecting this. It's all very sad, isn't it? We're both at fault. David, there's no point in clinging to a marriage that's long gone. We can still find happiness, just not with each other. Fine. If that's what you want, a divorce it is. I won't beg, but I'm not splitting the apartment. You and Alex can keep it. I'll figure something out, rent a place, and eventually buy my own. I'll make it work. Mary was taken aback by David's unexpected generosity. It's not like he was ever greedy or materialistic, but still, not many men would agree to such a thing. Thank you, David. A year passed. Mary ambled home from work, kicking up yellow leaves as she strolled through the park. Autumn was her favorite season, with its crisp air, the smell of damp earth, and the satisfying crunch of leaves beneath her feet. Mary, hey there. A familiar voice called out. She turned to see David approaching her, a hesitant smile on his face. David, what are you doing here? I was in the neighborhood and thought I'd take a walk. How are you? How's Alex? He's so busy these days, barely calls. We're good. Alex has a girlfriend now. She has purple hair. Mary chuckled. Kids these days. She seems like a nice girl, though. They come over sometimes. Wow, time flies. What about you? Seeing anyone? No, not really. Haven't really put myself out there. Work, home, the occasional walk in the park, shopping, the usual. How about you? Nope, no one special. Working a lot, saving up for a down payment on a place. I think about you often, you know? Remember that time we got lost on vacation and ended up drinking wine on the beach? Good times. Carefree. I remember. I remember it all, David. I think about you too. 15 years is a long time. David gazed at his ex-wife, his heart pounding like it did when they first met 16 years ago. Her mischievous green eyes, those unruly curls, the cute little upturned nose. She was still so beautiful. He had just gotten used to her being around, his vision clouded by familiarity. Now, after all this time apart, he saw her with fresh eyes. Mary looked at David, a soft smile gracing her lips. He looked just like the boy she had fallen for all those years ago. A little older, a little heavier, a few more lines etched on his face. And yet, she felt a warmth spread through her. A warmth that had nothing to do with anger or betrayal. The past was the past. All that mattered now was this moment, the two of them, together again. They walked for a long time, catching up on each other's lives. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the path, they stopped at a park bench. "Mary, I've really missed you, but I was afraid to admit it, afraid you'd laugh me off." "I've missed you too, David," Mary confessed, surprising even herself. "I thought I'd be embracing my newfound freedom, but the truth is, I haven't felt like embracing anything or anyone. So, what do you say? Walk me home?" "Let's go home, Mary. Let's start over. And who knows, maybe one day we'll even spoil our grandkids, even if they do have purple hair." Mary laughed, slipping her hand into his. "Why not? Time would tell."